Hello there, lovely to be with you again, and thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to start off by showing you what I've been working on very slowly over the last few days. Energy level's been low, I'm okay, but I've had migraines and I've just been exhausted, and I think I know why, but I won't get into that. But this is something I've done, and it is on an A4 sheet, so it's rather large, you can see that. And it's got a lot of detail in it. I've added shading. I've tried to do it with either patterns over here and textures. Here I've just made it very simple because I wanted the more ornate to feel closer and the ones that are further away to feel less ornate. I haven't added any highlights yet. So, and I may do patterns with a white gel pen on the top to lift the colours, or I may just use dots or lines. I don't know yet. It's still a work in progress. Alcohol markers were used to add colour. The paper I'm working on is a marker paper. It's from, I will move that out of the way now and I will show you. It's on its side, yes. But it's manga paper from De La Rowney. And I haven't used this particular one from De La Rowney before. I quite like De La Rowney's ordinary marker paper, but it doesn't seem to be easily available at the moment. Not on my Amazon anyway. And what is there is awfully expensive to what I'm used to. And I mean awfully a lot more expensive. So I guess they've changed the branding a bit. It feels smoother than the older one. It feels a little bit thicker. Like all markers, papers specifically for alcohol markers, they're designed to not allow the alcohol ink to bleed through and not to bleed outwards either. Pens can be a bit iffy on there. Actually, I was going to hunt for my Copic fine liners. They're not called fine liners, but the equivalent of multi-liners, could be, but I forgot to do that and I've started now, so we'll carry on. So what I've got here is, this is A4 and I'm going to start a drawing on it because there are things I want to try and add and do, and I think even though it's on a big sheet of paper you might get some, well, we'll see how we go. Firstly though, can I say thank you for leaving me comments, and I'm sorry I haven't replied to them or acknowledged them. I promise you I will do. It may not be today because I feel I'm going to be exhausted after this, but as soon as I can and I can focus for a period of time, I'll reply to them or start replying to them. I appreciate them all very, very much. I really do. And yeah, it's been a year, hasn't it, for many of us. Not a year I expected, but yeah, we're in December, so we're in the last month of 2023. Not that I hold any store by everything's going to change when the calendar changes. It changes when it will, and change is constant in life. But I still appreciate you all leaving me lovely comments and saying such lovely things and encouraging me. I'm just going to have a drink of mocha. Yes, mocha. It's cold out. It is just above freezing. First time today. I woke up to a world that was white, not with snow, but with frost. And though the frost has gone from the car, it's still lingering on roofs and in northish facing hills and houses and things like that. So I'm having a day inside. Not that I don't often have days out these nowadays, but days in. So I'm happy to be inside. Okay, let's start in the middle. I think I might draw some flowers to start now. They tend to be quite stylized with me and they'll form a kind of focal point. And so I'm going to put those in the top third around here. But I think I'm going to start with, for the first one, and hopefully I can keep my hand out the way. I'm not going to guarantee I will, but I'm just going to start here. Oh, I've got a pen that's going to be awkward if I... with a very rounded teardrop kind of shape, like so. All right, so if I zoom in, how's that? That's a bit better. Now if I come over this side and hold my hand over you, you'll be able to see what I'm going to do. So this is going to be the inner part of my flower. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to trace around from I don't know, about nearly halfway up, a little bit less than halfway up here, a little bit, and I'm going to just allow it to come down, around, like this. So I'm creating an S shape here. This part I'm going to bring back like this, as if the top part is folded over, and then I just want to bring this down and around and meet there somewhere. Oops, that's okay, I'll disguise that in a moment. So it looks like the petal or the spathe, no, whichever it is going around, has got a hole in the middle of it, as if everything's curling around. Now I could have actually made this even more like that, and perhaps I will. Let's see how it works out if I go like that. Oh, let's keep adding it, because it will end up looking like there's a... I've done it the wrong way really, if I want a stem at the bottom, but I think it'll be okay. And that little bit there, I'm just going to colour in black. It's not what I was aiming for, but then I didn't have a thought in my head what was going to happen. I just decided to start with that teardrop shape in the middle and just see where it took me. Now I do want quite a bit of line weight on that side, just to suggest that this is over the top here, and it's sort of curling around in this kind of direction. So let's add that in. This side is on the left, so I'm going to add some line weight over here to suggest some volume and shape. Volume underneath and part the way up. The line's getting a bit wonky, but it's fine. And then up here too, just like that. And I just think this needs something. This looks very odd in the middle, and I'm not quite sure what I can do about it, so I think I'm going to add an aura around it like that. That looks a little bit better, I think. It just feels that we've got an opening there that's more defined. Yes, I quite like that, and I will put line weight on this one to the left and the bottom, just to make it appear that it's sat on top of this, well, leaf or petal. It looks like a leaf now, and this could be a seed in there, who knows. Now for the stem, if I want to put a stem in here, I'm going to go from the centre here, and I'm going to kind of follow sort of the way this seems to be moving, but I'm going to make it a nice curve there. And at the bottom here, I'm going to draw a spiral like that. Do you see I've left a hook at the... oh, you can't see it because I've gone off the screen. So I've gone down here and I've drawn a spiral, gone around, and then here I've stopped part way round this one, because what I want to do here is come back on itself and go around and around, creating a spiral, because I love spirals, always have done. I think it's very ingrained in human nature. Spirals feature in the earliest forms of art that there are, you know, going right back to when wall art from the Paleolithic was, you know, has been discovered. I think it's the Paleolithic, and right the way through history. There's something about spirality or spirals that intrigues humanity. There's lots of things that they represent. And but I've always had a fascination with them, and they do like to appear in my art in one way or another. And I do like spirally stems as well. So we've now got a spirally stem here, and that leads all kinds of opportunities for things coming out here. And I think here what I'd like to have coming out is a leaf, and I'm going to have it spiraling around. It looks a bit like a saw blade at the moment, but it won't be. And so it's the point of it's going to be there. Then I'm going to come back this side. There's the stem, the leaf, and then I'm going to continue with these kinds of shapes. If some of them are a bit wonky, I'm not going to complain, and if they're not the equal number on each side, I'm certainly not going to complain, like that. And then that's my leaf from this plant, which is growing in a strange way. This is part of the fun of just going with things and using just the basic idea of what makes a flower or what makes a plant. You know, as we know it, you know. I'm sure there are many more that exist in imaginations. I quite like this leaf actually. So all I'm doing here is I'm adding some weight to the underneath of each one of these little bits that are sticking out. I can't think of the name I'd use for them. Somebody will tell me, I'm sure, in the comments. Serrations, there we are. It's a serrated edge, isn't it? So each one of these, I wonder what the individual name is for, you know, is it a serration? Or is the whole thing a serration? I don't know, I'm going to have to look it up if I remember. There we go. So that automatically looks like it's got some interesting volume. And then I'm going to start about halfway along here. And if I turn my work, which is awkward given that I'm working on A4, I'm going to start not halfway along, but not all the way in the middle, but I'm just going to start around here. I'm going to draw a central vein, and this one I'm going to make a little bit wider, and then I'm going to have it coming back together. Now, if I want this to look like it's a hole in the middle, which I think I'm going to do, I'm going to add weight to the top of this shape, like so. And then with a finer pen or colour I can add shadow. But that is my weirdly weird, if I zoom out, my weirdly weird flower. And that's nearly the height of the space that I want to draw on. Now I can do some others here because the stems can all come out of the same space here, because I've now closed this off with that leaf, so others can appear here. So let me have a look. So I'm going to start this time by drawing the outside bit in first, which is a bit daft actually thinking about it, but we'll work it, just to show that there are many ways to draw the same thing. So I've now got that, and I want my stem to come from here. So I'm going to draw the stem in first, because I want the stem to sort of inform me as to where I want the overlap to go, or which way I want this to happen. My little turnover at the top looks a bit different to the other one, but that's fine, it'll all be fine. So I do want this here. We're not going to have this sticking out like that one, but what I am going to do is I'm going to start here. Why? No. Let me start in this direction. So I'm going to start from here. I'm going to go around like so, around here, and then I'm going to go there and then there. So it looks a bit different, but I'm happy with that difference, to be honest. Gives me an alternative version of this particular weirdly grown, this thing that's growing weirdly. I don't know what I call it. I'm not very good at naming things, to be honest. If you've ever looked at my DeviantArt site, or any of my blogs or anything else, it's sort of like Entangled art and the date I drew it on, or this, that. Occasionally I get an idea for a name. So this one, instead of having that at the top, let's see what difference it makes if I go from the base as if there's a hollow there. That looks almost like it's coming out of the space, doesn't it? Yeah, I think I might have done the shapes the wrong way round. but it's okay, it is what it is. It's an alternative to that one. So perhaps the same plant has different variations, or perhaps one's male, one's female. I don't know. I don't know. So I'm just going to add some ink there as inky glue to hold these stems together. I'm also going to add some ink on the left hand side of this one. I do want them to appear as if they meld in, like so. Let me just have a look here. That's not too bad, that's a bit rough, so we'll just tidy it up. And then that'll work. I'll just colour that little tiny bit in at the top. Now I do like things in threes, so my temptation is actually to put one up here. And this time I will start by drawing that lovely little shape, and then let me have a look. So I'm going to start from this side. I'm going to go up and round, down, isn't it? And then up, round. I can't remember how I drew the first one, so I'm just using this as a guide to where I want it to go. So I've got this one here now, and it's different again. But you can tell it's the same, from the same kind of plant, the same kind of plant family, can't you? So is it important they're all identical? I don't think so necessarily. This is just my focal point here for this. So I'm going to add here little crescent moon kind of shape that I'm going to fill in black, and then I'm going to add shapes like that and that, just to see how that looks, because I can't imagine it myself. And then we've got this here, so I'm going to add some line weight there. I'm going to put some there as well, and then some here. I'm not sure that one works at all, but it's a good reference for me for another point in time, I guess. Is Angela, sketch things out first, girl. And then I'm going to nest the stem of this one here. So I'm just joining the stem to the bud or whatever it is at the top, the seed pod, the flower, I don't know. And adding some ink in between the stems, and let's round that at the bottom just a bit more, just to separate them, and you can see that they all come together. So this is the dividing point really of my design here. I haven't done that. So let me just have a look here. That'll work. This is underneath as well, so we'll add some there. And it looks like we've got some dimension with that spiral as well. And that will follow its way up into the leaf. So if I put some pattern in here, I can make that pattern the same as this inner part. Or if I'm using a different colour there, I could use a different colour in that middle part, as if this is the leaf curled up with the stems. The fact I've got 3 stems coming together makes no difference. So perhaps they're curled behind and we just can't see them. I do think though, I would quite like another stem, another leaf. I was watching some shorts on YouTube as I was falling asleep last night, or settling down to sleep. And they were Japanese flower arrangements, and it was fascinating to watch how it's minimalistic in a way, but everything is done with precision and held there, and it's trimming stems and leaves off and taking things off to get this beautiful balance of shapes and colours, and I was just fascinated by it. It's not something I'm going to take up. But just see if I can get my hand out the way. So I put the centre of the leaf in this time, and then I can use that then as a better guide for the shape that I want, can't I? Yes, Angela, you can. So this one's... Let's carry on with that, and then we've got that there. And then I'm just going to go back and add line weight. Absolutely beautiful flower displays and vases, and sort of like the ability to see or to be able to work out what you need to remove to make it less, to take away some of the plant, but the less makes the arrangement more. If that makes sense. Absolutely beautiful. And I think it's called Ikebane, something like that. I could be wrong, but absolutely stunning. So if you're looking for inspirations for flower designs or flower arrangements, I'd strongly recommend having a look at that. Ikebane, I think it is. I could be wrong, I could be thinking of something completely different, but Japanese flower, absolutely stunning. Absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, I do have to say that. So the randomness of my mind. So I've now got my focal points. 2 leaves looks a bit plain and boring, doesn't it? So let's go for a third baby one on this side, because I don't want anything on the other side at the moment. I just feel that everything would go out this way because this is spiraling down or spiraling back out. So I want this to feel like it's spiraling out as well. Like so. Nothing's perfect here. It all will work though. Be quite surprised. You will surprise yourself when you realise that this works for you too. Honestly. There we go. I've got a little bit of white there I don't want. I do want to add some more line weight there. There's a very tiny gap between them, but I'm going to leave that in. So that is looking really nice and interesting. I don't know if you agree. I really like that. These I feel will need some extra bits in here, and part of me is tempted to just take, actually I think I will, let me just do this on the top one, is just take an aura up here, and then that aura will actually go on the bottom, because this carries on this side, so this side carries on over here kind of thing. And that then just adds that feeling of there being layers. So I'm going to do the same here. How did I do that one? Oh, from the bottom here. So again, I'm looking here at this, and with this one, I just think that I'm going to go here. Again, I'm going to go off here, have it curling around there. Remember, this one, that line there isn't from this side, it's from this side. Okay, so this will be on the opposite side there. And the same with this one. I'm going to start here. Have it there. And then, oh, I put it on the wrong side, it's fine, it'll be all right. Perhaps it's got a stripe on the back. But that's just added some interest there as well, and added that a bit more complexity, and like we're weaving things back and forth. Now I could continue to do that, as I could weave under here and go around that way, but I'm not going to. I'm going to leave them as they are now. Okay, so what next? I'm going to work on this side. Okay, so I am going to just turn this around, and it's yes, I know it's upside down, but it will be fine, because I'm just going to, what do I want to do on this side? I don't know, but I think I'm just going to start with something that I use an awful lot when I'm not sure what to do, which is I suppose it's the it's like the Entangled pattern crescent moon, but for me it's just a shape or a form that I can make use of to have somewhere to start growing things from. Now whether it's more of these or not, I don't know, but we shall see. There we go. And I do love things that spiral and arch, and I just think I'd like some shapes like that there. And it is just literally line shapes that I like, that I'm going to make use of. There we are. So this is a bit like a seed pod, isn't it? As if this part of it is hidden behind. But I do want to add the base, or at least where the frame would be on this picture. So I've penciled that in. Sometimes I think I stick to the pencil line a bit too rigidly, that I should allow these shapes to flow off and then the framing to come in and cut these bits off, but then I'd get frustrated with the messiness of them. So yeah, so I'm just going to add some line weight here. I'm going to go back and just use my ink as glue to stick the different bits together. I think I would like the bottom of these curves to be that little bit thicker as well. Again, it just helps with that weight that holds things down, or that suggests there's some volume going on here. I've got this lovely shape here and it feels like something should be growing off it. So let's make something grow off it. So this is a kind of a letter C, but instead of the top part of the curve curling round, we're taking it off and up again. So a bit like a hook, I suppose. And this one, I'm going to make it into something a little bit different, because I'm going to put a spiral inside it and just connect it here. Like so. So that looks nice just as it is, doesn't it? I think so. But this needs something here, and I quite like having things that look like pillars or the shelves of pillars growing out from behind things. This is something that's appearing an awful lot in my work. So this is just a curve there, and I will put some ink there, and I will add some line weight because it's to the left of my image, as is this is the left and the bottom. This is the bottom. A little bit of ink to stick them together at the end. And so this looks like there could be something growing out of it. It looks like a vessel now. So I could actually increase that feeling of a vessel by perhaps adding something here, like a picture plant. Picture, not picture, but one of those carnivorous plants that, you know, it hangs off trees and things. It's got a stem on it, and then you've got this kind of shape underneath with a top, and it's got a flap on the top, and inside all the hairs are sticking downwards so that what gets in can't get back out. Very clever. Gross, but clever. But you know, it takes all sorts. Woe betide the flyer insect that goes in there. It's going to be lunch eventually, when it gets digested by acid and decomposed and stuff into goop the plant can use. It's okay, they're not big enough for humans to get into, and if you stuck your finger in them it wouldn't harm you, because what's in there, the digestive juices, would just take a very long time to digest, cause problems. I used to keep Venus flytraps in my science lab at one time at school. It actually did well. It was one of the few plants I could actually keep alive. I'm a nightmare. Black thumbs and fingers, let alone no green thumbs, dear goodness. Right, so this is looking really quite, I love this here, I really do, and I do want to grow some stuff out the top of it. I feel I need to, but I'm not quite sure what. It's a lovely shape. Sorry, I'm just admiring what I've created without much thought. It's just letting the lines draw and, you know, sort of like see what happens. What happens if? I mean, I did that all up here. I mean, I'm really not happy with this, so I'm likely to perhaps put a counterbalance of black there. That works. In fact, I'm going to stripe this one. In fact, I might go back and stripe all of them, because that seems a sensible thing to do for me. There we go. See, nothing has to remain the same. Things can always be altered as you go along, and when you alter them all, when you do the same to each, they do look like they belong then. As if it's a deliberate idea that nobody knows what you started with and nobody knows you decided to change your mind unless you decide to tell them. Like you never point out mistakes in your artwork. This one I think is my favourite one. That one's second. That one just is weird, but I can live with that. Okay? I mean, you know, it's branching out on its own. It's being eccentric, and I'm happy for plants to be eccentric. I'm talking about this because I really am not quite sure what to do here. I'll tell you what I can do though. I'm going to put a spirally thing here as its top, so it's almost got a lid above it or something to go here. So perhaps I won't have anything growing out of it. I mean, you know, they found this stems of these plants, which they must be very strong, because whatever this is that's growing on the side has obviously chosen it for that reason. But I just think that this would be perfect for perhaps a gemstone or a window or something else. I don't know, maybe even an eye. Oh, God forbid. Not eyes in my artwork. Oh, could be, could be. They do have a habit of showing up, you know. That's actually, I quite like that. This is a bit weird here, so what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to add a little shape there. So it breaks that little weird space there up and creates a bit more interest. And here I think I'd like to put stripes in it. But I think for that I'm going to use a finer pen because yes, I have an 01. Oh, I've been drawing with an 05. But I think the 01 would delicately add some stripes in there, like so. And I'm also going to use it to put some lines in here. And these leaves just to add some shading. This is actually working out nicely. This is something for me to work on while I decide what I need to do with the one I showed you earlier. I think I tried to do too many textural patterns and patterns to fill in shadow, you know, shade on there, and I should have really stuck to some, and some are just a bit, they're just not working for me. But it's all part of learning and experimenting and trying. But I really am enjoying adding shade with pen strokes, patterns, textures, just to bring shadow out and eventually highlight as well. So that actually works quite nicely. This is almost like a smiley mouth. No, we're not. No, I'm not going to put. You know, if an eye turns out there, it's going to. I have a feeling of it wanting to. Nice big circular eye thing, and perhaps that there, and then one inside, bigger circle at the top, smaller one at the bottom. That's where light would reflect perhaps. And if I mess it up, I can always colour it all in black and then add those with white ink. Never a problem. But here I do want to have a feeling of dimension, so I'm going to put something like that there, a little bit of ink there just to stick them all together, and then so I'm just adding a shape there, which almost could be a spiral, but it isn't. But it just feels like it's something to add some kind of interest to this shape. I have a thing about adding eyes to my artwork. They seem to appear quite often, and I'm not really sure, but a friend of mine and I debate the idea from time to time. Neither of us really know why, it just seems to be my thing. If there's any significance to them, I don't know. That actually is like a very stylized smiley face. I like that actually. And this could be the start of their hat, or, you know, crown or helmet, or perhaps they just have something growing out the top of it. Okay, but this needs some ink underneath there. That actually works quite nicely. And again, I'm going to go to my fine pen and I'm just going to add in some fine lines here. I'm going to turn this on the side for this one because I do want to add some fine lines in here. Like that, and that automatically starts to add some shading in. See, I think I got carried away with what I was doing. And the same here is that I can take a line here and just go around the inside of this. Yeah, I know it's touched the line there, or just about, but I'm fine with that. And perhaps one around this side as well. Just, oh gosh, I went outside there. It's fine. And that just adds that kind of interest. And I could do the same with, oh look, didn't round that very well, did I? Or at all. But I can do the same with the left-hand side of all the stems. And I'm not putting any breaks in it for shades and shadow. That one looks like it's going to have a little bump in it. All the way up. This one's going to be interesting. I'm going to start about level with this shape at the bottom. And go like that. Because I've got these little bumps on the other one here, perhaps if I put them in on these, it will look like they belong and that they're deliberate. If you do make an oopsies, if you do something like that, then it works. It's like here, I've got a little, I'll show you if I zoom in, hopefully. Where is it? I've lost it now. Yes, here. You see my pen has slipped over the edge a little bit, so I can make a feature of it. So I'm just putting some curved lines there. I'm making the one that will be lower around the spiral darker, so it looks like there's a natural break there, as if something belongs there. And, you know, unless I told somebody that's a result of me going, oops, nobody'd know. It looks deliberate. I can put that kind of idea in elsewhere and see what happens. Now this here is intriguing me as to what I'm going to do with this. And part of me thinks I just want to put a shape here to begin with, like that, and I'm going to actually give it almost like it's a border of some kind, or a shelf or an edge, and just move that around so I can get at it a bit more easily. It'll be easier if I zoom out as well, because I stupidly decided to use a big sheet of paper to draw on today. But I am using it in landscape, you know. Landscape actually, I prefer to work in landscape or portrait. does it matter? It doesn't matter really. But got that. So what can I do here? I'm going to take a line here from the top, and I'm going to curve it over and spiral it round. From the bottom I'm going to spiral it, or add some line weight, and just connect it there. And then I'm going to come back around like so. So I've got this beautiful kind of shape there. That's actually quite fun. The spirals are appearing in all kinds of places, aren't they? So that's how something becomes cohesive. It feels like they're deliberate, they're meant to be together when you limit the shapes or the patterns that you use, I suppose. I'm not sure whether that worked in the other one. This probably did actually, but we shall see. So I'm just going to add a bit more line weight on this side, like so. And then I want to have something where I feel I want something that's almost feathery, but I don't know whether to have it flowing down and around or whether I want it to go up. Let me have a look. Ah, it's more like a fern now. So it's not a feather, it's turning into a fern. So I'm just using lots of arches, U-shapes if you will, just to fill this in. And the best thing of all is you can have them going smaller and smaller and fill in that gap. So it's not perfect, the edges don't all meet up perfectly, or you know, there's not a smooth enough curve here between them, but as in this bulges out and it goes in and round, but I'm fine with that. I suppose I should have got a pencil out to actually pop that in. That actually looks really cool. I like that. So what I'm going to do next, I'm going to add perhaps another one that goes a bit further up. And then I'm going to come back down like so. Make that one nice and bold on that side. This one needs some extra line weight. Okay, so here I want my fronds to go this way, I think, like that. So let's start at the top with some of these, where they will end up now going behind this one. So all I need to do is to add some lines in. I'm not trying to make them line up. In fact, I'd prefer it if they didn't, but some of them will, no matter what I do. I'm just going to, again, just add some ink to stick them together. And I'm going to go back and do that with my in the other one as well, this, where I'm just going to turn the base of these into almost like little upside down V's. It curves, or you curve the shape inside, and there's just something that feels finished and deliberate about it when you do this. I don't know why, but it adds an interesting kind of shape to the sections as well. It works out nicely. So we've got that there. That's looking quite interesting. Yeah, I quite like that. It's almost like a jester's hat, but it's not a jester's hat. So the next one is going to go just a little bit behind here. I may just have it bent over a little bit more with this one. And let's just get that back down there. Now, the next one wouldn't show. I've decided it's going to be shorter than this, so it's going to be easy to pop these shapes in here. And I'm going to have 2 more sections to fill in. And then I'm going to call this video a day, because I can. You can see what's happening here. Do you know, I'm really chuffed with this. And I'm drawing much bigger than I ordinarily would have done. So let's have a look here, because I'm going to fill this in as I go. So by drawing sort of shapes in here that are rounded as I go along. They don't all have to be the same width. That's not important really. It's just a textural pattern now. Now I am getting to the top where I do want to bring this lot in and down. So I'm going to have to go back to my original kind of idea. That's okay, we can do that. And then same here, though I'm using a thicker pen so it's a bit more heavy-handed. There we go. And then for this one, I'll just put lines in. I'll come back with a finer pen to finish them off, because I've realised now that I need to do that for it to be nice and neat and tidy. So here we go. Perhaps some of them will meet up, some will be smaller, some will be wider. I've got that there. That's fun. Don't know if you agree. I don't know if this is your kind of thing. You'll have to let me know. So that's what comments are for, but I'm hoping that you'll get some ideas from it, that you'll give these weird flowers a go and make them your own. You know, if I'd had any common sense, I'd have looked at them first, but I don't have common sense at the moment. I have to go and cook while the video's processing and uploading and whatnot, so common sense needs time with me. So there we are, we've got that going on. This here's rather lovely. I don't know what I'm going to do there. But if I bring it up so you can see all of it, hopefully you can see it all. There's my tools, which I shall pop there. I did use a pencil and a ruler to put the pencil lines in round there. This is so funny. This is making me smile and laugh, which I must have needed. I'll tell you what else I need to do with this. If these are teeth, they certainly need that rounding at the top, as if there's gums sticking around the teeth, you know what I mean? And I don't want a bottom set of teeth. I'm quite happy just to have the top set. But there's something about it, it's just making me smile. And I hope it makes you smile too. It's not meant to be scary, it's just meant to be different, because I do different, don't I? So I'm going to say thank you so much for joining me. I'm not going to do any more shading or texture with this at the moment, because that's something I will most probably tackle later on. I'm likely to use lines like this to suggest there's shading there, and I'll use very simple colours to add colour to them. A monochrome palette, you know, with perhaps a light, medium and dark colour, just to help to bring these features out. Perhaps a complementary colour just to give a wild pop. So for example, if I was going to use tealy blues here, I'd like to use orangey reds then as that pop of colour that will actually, they'll make each other look that much brighter. And complementary colours are colours that are opposite each other on the colour wheel. And they really do work nicely together, but a little bit of the complementary. So, but I don't know yet what I'm going to do. But I do find that with the one I showed you earlier, which I'll pop back in because I can show it on the side in completion, I'm happier with monochrome or largely monochrome colours than I am using others. I did think about putting reds or purples here, reddish purples as a complement, but I don't think that would work for me. So I think the blue's not working for me, it just isn't. But I think black would be perfect, and the idea we're in some organic kind of creature with little windows that you can look out on as you sail through the cosmos, it just appeals to me. It really does. There's almost like a little eye here. I could put an eye in there for sure. A glint of an eye. Yes. So thank you for joining me. And I look forward to being with you, back with you in a video another time. For the moment, I'm going to try to make it weekly. I'm going to try to get in a rhythm of making a video on a Saturday. The world is far too peoply for me on a Saturday. And see where it goes from there. You know, I might be able to get into the rhythm of adding one midweek. I don't think I'm going to be going back to making videos daily because my videos are getting on the longer side, or are on the longer side. I mean, you know, to complete this, it would take another 3-4 hours. Probably. Just the line work, let alone the colouring. I can't remember how long it took me to add colour to that one. It took me longer to, well, it took me long enough to decide which colours I was going to use. What a nightmare. Anyway, I'm wittering. I witter a lot, but thank you for joining me. It's lovely to have your company. And as I say, it might not be entirely your cup of tea, but there are elements in here I think you can take inspiration from and ideas you can use to try in your own artwork. And I look forward to you tagging me in them. And again, I apologise if you've tagged me in it and I haven't come and seen it. I've not really spent much time on the computer or certainly on social media, and just because it takes focus, and the focus I often don't have for things, and also I can find social media sites to be a bit overwhelming at the moment, or all the time with the amount of information and things that come at you. It's a bit much for me, but I'm sure if you're like me, you'll understand. If you're not like me, hopefully you'll appreciate that. So, look after yourselves, and I'll see you in about a week's time. Maybe a bit sooner, who knows. But until then, find time to be creative. Bye-bye for now. Bye all. Take care.